Except I don't know if you're hearing. Okay.
Hey,
Anyways, go
what's
ahead.
going on, everybody? It's your girl Petraa representing for Love Bay Radio. Happy Saturday. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful, fantastic Saturday afternoon. You're here joined with your girl Petra. I'm here joined with my co-host Ron Mollinga. TYB will be here with us shortly. And we also have our wonderful special guest as well, Billy Mystic Wilmot. So we're excited to be talking to him as well later on in the show. But Ron, what's going on? How's your week?
Hey, well, I'll tell you, I just sitting down almost right now as we speak. I just went for a bike ride. Really beautiful day here on the west coast of Canada. Gorgeous day. And so I was in a little bit of a rush to get in here, but I got in here, so it's good to be with. Yeah, exactly. No complaints. It's gorgeous here, as I mentioned. So look, I can't complain. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing amazing. I'm just happy now that the weather is a lot nicer than it was. It snowed this week in Toronto. Did it snow in Vancouver?
Are you kidding? Not a chance.
Oh.
No, no, no. We don't have anything like that here.
Well, lucky for us in Toronto, it snowed. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So,
yeah. Par for the course.
yeah. But other than that, it wasn't too bad. So I had a really good week. I just came from the gym. Definitely have to shout out Clinch Culture. That's my gym where I do Muay Thai. Shout out to my coaches, Coach Al, Aaron, Mel, and just everybody that comes to the gym with me. So yeah, it was definitely great. And yeah, I had a productive week. So yeah, definitely happy.
Good deal. And it's better now. You're, as I mentioned, maybe off the air. Is that it's nice to see you. You're not jolted in your movements. It's nice to see you. What you movement is exactly how we see. I see you blink. Can you blink?
Blink, blink twice. I know for all of you guys that do tune on the YouTube on the live, sometimes I'm like delayed or I look like a robot. But today, no network issues, so definitely
Did,
excited.
did you figure that out? Can I ask what was the problem? Did you know? Do you know?
Honestly, I just logged on and for some reason today it was perfect. So what can I say? Must be in the stars, destined. Yeah, most definitely. So yeah, we're definitely excited. We're going to be talking to the wonderful Billy Mystic Wilmot. He's going to be joining us very shortly, and looking forward to talking to him and just hearing all the wonderful things in relation to his music. He's a cultural icon. So many amazing things that he's been doing. So definitely excited to talk to him. And we know at some point TYB will be popping in. So we want to introduce to the show Billy. How are you?
Greetings, greetings. Yeah, everything is nice here in Jamaica, nice and warm. Just like it was in the middle of winter. It's still warm here now in the middle of spring, as it is going to be in the middle of the summer as well and the fall. As you know, Miss Lou uses, there used to be the saying that say we have neither summer nor winter, neither autumn nor spring. So
Mm-hmm.
we just have the days when the sun rise is beautiful and shining on the mountain tops. That's what we have every day. So we give thanks the birds singing. There's no war, there's no bombs being dropped like they are in other parts of the world. So there's so much to give thanks for. Rastafari.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, if you could turn up your sound a little bit, if not, I know that I guess TYB is going to be working on that. But yeah, most definitely. You said some really good points. We're both, in places where there's no bomb being dropped. We don't have to really fear for our lives in that regard. So it definitely is, something we have to give thanks for. Showing gratitude, it should be a way of life. I think people focus so much on what they don't have as opposed to focusing on what they do have. And when you focus on life in that perspective, you succeed more. What do you think, Billy?
I think that is a statement that it sounds like it makes sense, but some of the time it depends on who that advice is coming from. Because really and truly, we should have the right to life and the right to equal opportunity and the right to education and the right to expression. There's a lot of things we're supposed to have and we don't have. So I don't too much like the thing where, boy, nothing bad now go on, so make we feel say good, because there's always stuff that needs to be fixed and important things that need to be addressed. And the society and Babylonian system have a way for us to kind of turn down the heat on some things that we should be turning up the heat on, and expecting us to, accept the way things are and look on the bright side of things. We want them to fix up the dull side of things because for too long the people have been suffering, people who don't need to suffer, who shouldn't be suffering, people who are on the lower end of the economic scale, who have less resources and less capacity and ability to take care of themselves and their dependents. These people don't have the option that some people who may be in a more secure financial position find themselves in. So yes, we want to look and give thanks for the good things, but we want to fix some of the bad thing them too, and we don't want to pretend as if they are not there. So we give thanks for life and we give thanks for strength, and we always remember that we have been worse, and we want to see betterment. So let's fix things that need to be fixed and not just be satisfied with the fact that some things are not broken.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I mean, I hear what you're saying to some regard. You know what I mean? I mean, we shouldn't really overlook things that haven't really been taken care of. But at the same time, we still have to give thanks for like
True.
that we have life, you know? Things could be better, but even if it's not better yet, still having that positive mindset towards
Keep
it
working.
is still hope towards the future and building and establishing and allowing those things to get better. You know, people who are not in a good financial situation, that's already it not being fixed, right? So obviously, like we have to work towards those people being in a better situation. But even if we're not exactly where we want to be, we have to just be thankful, right? Because we know at some point we're gonna get there.
And keep on keeping on. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, most definitely. So we're really excited to have you on the show. So just for some of our listeners who it's their first time getting to experience the phenomenal Billy Mystic Wilmot, can you just share with our audience exactly who you are and how you got into the music?
Okay, well, I'm a human being who was born in Jamaica. I grew up in Jamaica all my life, living in an area called Bull Bay. Founded a band called the Mystic Revealers Band, which was founded in the late 1970s, about 1978, 79. We formed the group. We didn't come to public acclaim until probably the latter part of the 1980s, at which point we had a number of releases, single releases like Mash Down Apartheid, Got to Be a Better Way, Religion, and some of these songs started coming out on the air from the end of the 80s going into the 90s. We released about 5 albums so far, starting with Young Revolutionaries. Then there was Jaworks. Then there was Space and Time. Then there was Crossing the Atlantic. And then there was Jaja People, which is the most recent. There's been a couple more compilation albums put out by different labels, like Ras Records put out one, and VP Records put out one also. But I am the lead singer, main songwriter, and rhythm guitarist for the group. And we are currently made up of myself, the other founding members, Leroy Lion Edwards is our bass player. He is one of the founding members. One of the current members is Nicholas Rimshot Henry, which is our drummer since the turn of the I would say since the turn of 1990s, 89, 90, he came into the group about that time. So, and we formed the group presently, and now we are working hard to come back out on the road because there's been quite a outcry for the Mystic Revealers to come back into the live music arena. and ply our wares to the marketplace. You know, people are missing us, and there's quite a bit of interest shown in making our music and our show available to the public again. You know, so basically, I'm also a father of five and grandfather of seven, and I'm the godfather of Jamaican surfing. Surfing is my sport. I'm the
Wow,
one who
nice.
really formulate surfing association in Jamaica and been responsible for the past 20 years for surfing in Jamaica and heading it up and doing my best to push it forward and exposing young surfing athletes to the sport and the global community, surfing community. So basically, that's what I've been up to over the time, you know. So I did do a certain amount of acting as well in Jamaica. People who know me from Jamaica would know me from Jamaica's number one s- soap opera drama, which was called Royal Palm Estate, in which I played one of the lead characters for about 15 years, 15, 16, maybe 17 or 18 years. So that in a nutshell is basically who I am. But that, you know, and husband to my wife as well. I don't know if I mentioned that, you know, but I'm that also. And we've been in an ongoing tug and war for about 45 years now. And so
Beautiful.
yeah, we give thanks that we stick together despite the fact that there is so many reasons for us not to be together. You know what I mean? And so many excuses why we could have did kill one another a long time and gone a prison. So I give thanks that we find the love and the understanding and the forgiveness and compassion to stay together. So I can't leave her out because she's a major part of my life, come hell or high water. So that's basically a little outline of who Billy Mystic is.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Anytime.
Ron?
Yeah. Hey, Billy. Can I ask how does the name? How did the name come to be?
Well, back in the days, because in the 70s, it was all about groups. We started out as a vocal quartet, practicing harmonies and singing. We didn't start as a band. And at that time, we were called the Revealers, or we called ourselves the Revealers at that time. Um, After a few years venturing on as vocalists and one member being able to play a little bit of the guitar, we decided that we should try and make our own music rather than depending on singing on tracks and that sort of thing, and looking for promoters and producers to declare who we were. We would rather you know make our own noise about ourselves. So we decided that we were going to try and make ourselves into a band and get some equipment. And at that point, we were releasing a song, and it was the first time we were going to release a song. We were releasing it on our own through our own financial efforts. And we realized, well, you have to make labels and all that. We found out what it takes to produce a song, and we recorded. Went to the studio. We got the song recorded. We got it mixed and mastered, and we were going to press it. So we had to print some labels, and when we were printing the labels, we told the people, we gave them the information that we were called the Revealers, and that the name of the track was, um, it was, which track it was? It wasn't Winner. Yes, it was Every Man Want to Be a Winner was the first one. And when we went back to collect our labels from the printry, it didn't say it didn't say the Revealers. It was something the Invaders they had put. And we said, and they were trying to tell us, no, that's a good name. You should stick with it. Invaders is a good name. And we said, no, that's not good. And we said, no, it's Revealers. And they said, oh, the reason they didn't put Revealers because there's another group named the Revealers, and that's why they didn't think it was right for them to put Revealers on our thing. And we said, all right, no, our thing is Mystic Revealers, you know. So the Mystic, so we don't know about any other Revealers because we never heard of anybody else. So ours is Mystic Revealers. So that encouraged us to add the Mystic. And due to the fact that I was the leader of the band, that name sort of ended up sticking on me as Billy Mystic or Mystic, just short Mystic. So people start calling me Mystic, people start calling me Billy Mystic, you know. And basically, that is how the name ended up sticking. And I don't know whatever happened to Mighty Invaders or what happened to the other revealers, but none of them survived. And the Mystic Revealers, as we have presented it, is the reality of the group from that time until now.
Hmm. Yeah, cool. You've said as a group that you've been awed by the magnificence or the magnificence of Rastafari. How has that shaped your music and your message over the years?
Well, in I think it is in every way. I think it is Rastafari is the main influence in my writing, because I when I write my song, all my song, if you listen to the material of the Mystic Revealers, you can see it is very lyric heavy. A lot of message, a lot of storytelling, a lot of influence over the listener to encourage them towards righteousness and to encourage them towards uplifting themselves, and making themselves a better person, doing that which is right, doing that which is morally upright and correct. These are the things that really are presented in the music. And when you listen to the messages of the song, it's very clear that it's obviously a Rastaman write these song. So I would say that the Rastafarian faith has been one of the main guiding force in the musical direction that I have undertaken as a member of the Mystic Revealer.
Cool. Hey, Petra, go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Um, I wanted to ask you. You mentioned earlier about your surfing career. That's very intriguing.
Yes,
And you're considered to be one of Jamaica's surf pioneers.
that's right.
So I wanted to ask you, like, what drew you into the ocean and what got you into surfing?
No, you have to remember, say, I don't. It's not like I see myself as being drawn to the ocean. I see myself as an ocean creature because we are on a planet that the vast majority of the planet is an ocean. The land part of the earth is the least part of the earth. So if you're looking at the overall place where we live, we're living in a water planet, you know. And remember, I swim out of my father back going to my mother uterus. It was a ocean thing. You understand? I'm a grow in an ocean environment inside of my mother for 9 months, submerged underwater. You understand? Living in that aquifer, living in the liquid medium, and was born out of it. So it's like when I was born, that was the first time in my existence that I experienced what it is not to be an ocean creature, you know. So I embrace the sea. I grew up by Bull Bay here on the beach. I don't remember learning to swim in the same way that I would presume none of you guys remember learning to walk, or learning or remembering when you couldn't walk and wish if you could walk. It's the same with me for swimming. I don't remember not being able to swim or wanting to swim and not having the capacity to undertake the venture. So swimming has always been a part of me. And the eastern end of Jamaica, the sea is very rough. Jamaica is like a ship. The eastern side point of the island is like the bow of the ship, and the western point is like the stern of the ship. And if you're used to ships on the water, you know that the roughest part of is at the bow. And at the back, if you're riding on a boat and you want a smooth ride, go around at the back, it always steady and level. So that's the way Jamaica is. So the eastern end of Jamaica is exposed to a lot of wave, high waves conditions. And as a result of that, and growing at this end, the rough sea was just a normal encounter for us as kids. And entering the sea, when the sea is rough and there's heavy waves, you get to learn how the waves move and push. And you start by just swimming towards land with a little piece of board, and the wave pick you up and carry you in. So as youths, we didn't know it was surfing, we just think it was riding wave. So we used to ride wave, and that's why I kind of get into the sea and the surf thing. And it was just a matter of time before sooner or later I would gain access to a real surfboard. And when I gained access to the real surfboard and took it out in the water and realized what it was to stand on a board and experience walking on water and feeling that Christ-like feeling, standing on the water, moving over the water without any engine, without anything, just your balance and you're standing on this board, this magic carpet, you know. So I was hooked from that point on, which was many years before I even started playing guitar or writing music. So I was a surfer first, way long before I was a musician, you know. But it was just when the music industry sort of melted away due to the digital format of the music, when vinyl stopped selling, when record stores closed down, when the record companies that we were signed to were not selling vinyl music anymore. There was no, that was a major income, because when somebody like your music, them go buy your album. Even if it's one of your tracks they like, they would buy the album. And that would be 20, $25, $30 hard currency every time somebody buy one of your records. And when it changed to the digital format where people downloading, and it started being on cassette and CD, and the manufacturers of those equipment designed ways in which the common man could duplicate your material as an artist. You release your CD and him buy one of your CD and go out and buy 200 blank CD and put it in a double deck machine and just copy off your thing and photocopy your label or your jacket, your record jacket, and start bootlegging your thing. And it destroyed the whole music industry from the point of view of us as a performing band, where the record company were unable to really assist us with tour support and that sort of thing. And we were a large band. We were like 8 people on stage at the time. So that's what kind of slowed down the thing, why we had to step back. But what's happened now is that, you know, monitoring and tracking of digital music has gotten much better. There is a possibility now for the Mystic Revealers to once again push out and make ourselves available to the live music market again. We have become, with all the years that have gone back, we have become much more respected even in our own land. The young people coming up now look and see that the ground that we had covered from the 90s was so impressive that we need to be recognized as one of the iconic groups out of Jamaica. So our profile has risen that in that respect. We're getting a lot more respect, a lot more interest now. People from Europe, the promoters from Europe here, that we are getting ready to come back on the road, and everybody is excited to see us once again. So basically, that is how we really get into the music and where we are right now, you know?
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I do want to ask you one more question in relation to the surfing, because it's a very interesting topic. I love how it's connected to your legacy, with the music and just you as a person, and like is connecting to the island. So I wanted to ask you, and you also mentioned about doing it for the youth. I wanted to ask you, what do you think the future of Jamaican surfing is and the youth involvement? And then what challenges have you faced being a surfer in a country not traditionally known for surfing?
All right. Where would surfing be going? Surfing is a very addictive sport, you know. Unlike other sports that you can go and do at any time, you can always go down to the tennis court and knock a few ball over, or go down to the basketball court and shoot some hoops and that sort of thing. You can get a ball, a football, and go and juggle some ball. Surfing is a sport where your participation in the sport is wholly dependent upon the situation and the state of the ocean. If you
Mm,
want to surf and you go to the sea and the sea is flat and there is no surf, there's nothing you can do. There is no
mm,
excuse. There is no turn on the wave machine and go and ride some wave. You know, it's not at that level. So you find that when you're a surfer, you have to, them have a saying, them say you have to be on it. You know, That means when the sea get rough, you have to drop everything and get on the wave because it's not you can't just put it off and say, "Oh, I'll go tomorrow," because there's no guarantee for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that is the thing about surfing now. Surfing is that kind of sport where it's like a drug that you want and you can't have it all the time and you need it and you want it and you can't get it and it's not there, and then when it's there, sometime when it's available, guess what? It's grandma 92nd birthday or something, and you're supposed
Yeah.
to go to the birthday, and as a surfer you're going to get a reputation of not being reliable because
Oh.
you, as a surfer, you are going to say, Chuck granny, I'm going to live for the 100 year, man, I'm going to ride wave, you know. And so is that kind of sport very addictive. So where the youngsters are concerned, I see young people learning surfing now. There's so many more kids interested in surfing now. Skateboarding is another thing that has opened up surfers, opened up to surfing to other young athletes who got involved in skateboarding and then discovered that surfing is a mother sport of all these other board sports, and draw them towards coming to surfing to discover what it's about. So I think surfing has a good future as a leisure sport in Jamaica. As a professional sport, it's very difficult. It's very expensive. Unlike football, where you buy one football and 22 kids can have a game. If you have 22 kids learning to surf, you need 22 surfboard. And the cost of
Mm.
one surfboard, you could have probably buy 2 dozen football with the cost of one surfboard. So that is one of the deterrents to the expansion and growth of surfing in Jamaica. The fact that we have excellent waves at the eastern end of the island, very consistent surf, is one of the pros for the development of of the sport. um, I think that the fact that Jamaica also is a name brand place, and anything you put Jamaica upon itself, you know, by saying surfing in Jamaica, it intrigues people abroad. You know, when they say, "Oh, he lives
Mm.
in Jamaica," because they know so much about Jamaica, never heard about surfing in Jamaica.
I know.
So when they hear that there is surfing in Jamaica, there is that instant interest from people who surf, because people who
Exactly.
surf want to travel to exotic places to surf, and Jamaica is a name high on their list, but because they've never heard about surfing, so many surfers who love Jamaican music, love Jamaican culture, didn't realize that there is a surf option in Jamaica. So
Mhm.
that has opened up. People have realized that now, that you can come surfing in Jamaica. If you go online and you click and say surfing in Jamaica, it will lead you right to us, you know, because it's established now that there is good, very good surf in Jamaica. And we've been getting over the past, and I would say for the past 30 years, we've been having a steady flow of surf visitors from all over the world who have always wanted to visit Jamaica for surfing, but were not aware of the fact that that was actually an option. And now it is. We have seen a lot of people coming out. So surfing, I think, will continue to grow in Jamaica. How fast and how widely it will grow will left to be seen. But I don't think you can get rid of surfing in Jamaica anymore. It's here to stay.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that, you know. Because even me, like, I used to live in Jamaica, I've traveled to Jamaica, you know, and even all the time that I lived there, I never really knew that surfing was a thing, you know. One thing that surprised me was knowing that dance music was a thing, you know, because you never really associate like dance, techno music with Jamaica. But, you know, as much as people like techno, they'll like surfing as much as they'll like things that like here, you know, like with
Yes.
now with today's age and with social media, I think there's not so much limits, and I think that the world is now more open to know what's going on in other countries, and we're not so sheltered and living off stereotypes, you know.
True, true. Very good observation. I agree with you.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Thanks, Billy. So Ron.
Hey, Billy, simple question: coffee or tea?
Tea every time.
Yay, Team T.
Yeah, you know, you have to realize my mother's father was a little Englishman from London, a Cockney Englishman. My mother is a white lady. Her mother was from Holland. the Netherlands, and her father from England. My father is born to Jamaican parents, from St. Anne's, you know. But I grew up drinking tea, not coffee.
See, Ron, I'm British, so yeah, tea all day.
Yeah, straight up.
No rights or no wrongs there.
Yeah, man. No, well, you see, what's great with tea, it's not only black tea, we have ganja tea too, and Cersei tea, and mint tea, and so all of these tea, all fish tea we have to. People, you'll be surprised.
Yeah.
Hey, on the music side of things, Mash Down Apartheid was a bold debut. But how did working with Jimmy Cliff come about, and what was the energy like during that session?
Well, I'm gonna tell you exactly how that song, that mashed down apartheid. When I discovered as a youngster back in the 80s that apartheid was actually still going on, and in my mind, I thought that all them type of thing done from emancipation or slavery or something. I couldn't believe that in the 1980s that apartheid was actually a real situation existing on the planet while I was alive. So I was so shocked to understand that apartheid. I really thought that it was something from the past. I didn't realize it was a current political system being maintained and operated in the real world that I was living with. So when I found that out, I got very upset and I wrote the song Mash Down Apartheid. At that time, as a young band coming up, we wanted to get into recording. And it came to me that Jimmy Cliff is a man who was very vocal about apartheid and Nelson Mandela and what was
Hmm.
happening in Southern Africa at the time. So it was great to approach him. And I actually went to Jimmy Cliff, and said, Jimmy, I don't know, I didn't put the song to him initially. I said, we're a young group. We'll need some place to rehearse, and I wonder if you'd help us out with a rehearsal space. And he ended up telling me that I approached him and asked him, could we get even one day a month in your rehearsal room? And he said, yeah, no problem. He would give us a month in this rehearsal room. And it sort of ended up just becoming more and more days per month. When he wasn't using it, we could have access to it. When he went out on tour, we had access to his rehearsal room. And his rehearsal room had a 1 inch 16 track reel to reel tape in it. And we went out and bought a 1 inch reel of tape and started recording. And we ended up recording that a demo of the song. We said we were going to record a demo of the song for Jimmy Cliff to hear it. Because up to that point, it was just an idea we had and written and not yet recorded. And he went away on tour, and we went into the rehearsal room and we recorded a 16 track version of the song and mixed it and everything right there in his rehearsal room. And when Jimmy Cliff came back, and he asked me, said, did you work on that song for him? He said, yeah, we did the demo. And we played the demo for him. And he said, you recorded this in the rehearsal room? And he said, yes. And he said, it sounds perfect. And him call Newton Merritt, who was his in charge of business at the time. And he told Newton, cut stamper and press it and put it out there and get it out in the world. So that was very encouraging to see that immediate positive response from Jimmy when he heard the work, because he wasn't there when we recorded it. We recorded it on our own, and he just approved it right away. So that was really edifying to us, and granted us with a certain amount of legitimacy in our own eyes. The fact that such a iconic person in Jamaican music showed that level of interest in what we were doing. It really, really bolstered our confidence in self.
Yeah. Hey. Critics have said that you blend reggae with elements like rap, hip hop, and disco. Was that a conscious choice, or did you evolve, or did it evolve naturally?
No, you see, we were never under the hand of a promoter or a producer. We were our own entity. So we made songs in the way that sounded good to us. You know, a lot of the time when you work with a promoter or a producer, they conceive a sound for the group and how it should sound and that sort of thing, you know, and they try and keep you on track, you know, create an image for you, create a signature type of sound. In much the same way, like you hear Black Uhuru, the minute you hear Black Uhuru song, you know it's Black Uhuru. Just from the styling of the song, regardless who is the lead singer, just the presentation of the material from coming from a producer who has a certain ear. We were not like that. We were a group of 6 or 7 musicians who would I would write some lyrics and some chord progression and start playing, and the bass player would play what he thought was a good bass line, and the keyboardist would add whatever fills and shuffles and bangs and that they felt were in keeping with what it was I introduced. You know, so a lot of the songs were songs that were influenced by outside musical influence. You know, my father was a radio disc jockey at a jazz program, so I was very exposed to jazz. So I'm sure that jazz influence is there in the music if you can identify it from place to place. I was very into R&B music as a teenager growing up. You know, it was all about the girls and going to the party and, you know, rent a tile as we used to call it, you know, hug up a girl and don't move on the dance floor. You just hugging and giving hickey in her neck and them something there. You know, so that was influencing us as well, you know, and the whole Jamaican genre of music was the fact that DJ was a thing coming in at the time, you know, and we were exposed to it. We used to, as a youth, we used to follow sound system. We used to follow Jalov and Sturgav and Stereophonic and Emperor Fate and you know, we used to follow the sound system. Living in Bull Bay is an area there. Most of the top sound systems would come to Bull Bay to play. So we were exposed to all that other aspect of the music as well, the street music, which back in the day was considered unfit for airplay because of the quality of the production, not really because of the lyrical content, but most of the real music that was being produced by like upset of them and coxing them and they were in inferior studio environments. So the radio stations sort of tended away from playing music produced in those at that level because back in the day it was just an AM signal for your radio, which is a very poor quality signal. And if you put a poor quality record on the turntable and then blast it out through an AM signal, your station, people wouldn't probably tune into your station. Kind them days you scan the dial till you hear something bright and clear and you tune into that station. So people for radio stations wouldn't promote songs and play songs that were recorded in inferior studio. So but living out in Bull Bay, the sound system guys, they had a different sound reinforcement system. They had 4 channel crossover and 4 amplifiers and 4 set of speaker boxes so that then put on this low quality signal record, and when it come out it split that low quality signal into 4 different frequencies: low frequency, low mid, high mid, and top end frequencies. And then they could adjust the parameters of the frequencies. So if you produce your record in an inferior studio and the bass line say was low, the sound system could easily be boost up the bass line because they have a one of the one of the divisions in the equipment is dealing with the lower end spectrum of the presentation, musical presentation. You could turn up the bass really loud in the sound system, or if the vocal was low, you could turn up your high mids or whatever way you had much more control over the sound quality that was being produced by the sound system as opposed to the radio and its AM frequency, which only had a little tone knob. You could either tone it up or down, you know. So that caused a lot of music not to get see the light of day. But growing up in Bull Bay where the sound systems came, I was exposed to all of the local music, all of the local street music, all of the top songs that were not being played on the radio. So we were influenced by both radio music, overseas pop chart music, local street music, and then our own creativity. So I think that is why our music was, should I say, I don't want to sound away, but should I say a bit more sophisticated in terms of its makeup and component parts. Our music was always a bit more sophisticated, more instrumentation than the music of the day back then, when it was many of the times the musical composition would be a drum, a bass, a organ shuffle, a piano bang, and a rhythm guitar scratch, and that would be the total instrumentation, wherein we introduce horns, flute sounds, lead rock guitar sound, lots of percussions, lots of keyboard parts and fills, that sort of thing. So I think that is what really influenced our music and made it, as we choose to say, a bit more sophisticated.
Yeah, cool. You ready to join us there, TYB?
I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, yeah, we have some technical difficulties, but that's technology, as you know. Um, my question to you is, my understanding is that when the band made their their first money ever, you contributed it to the African National Congress to help the fight against apartheid, and this is what a lot of people don't know. Can you enlighten us on that, please?
Yes, well, it was really as a result of being having that connection with our brother Jimmy Cliff, who was very well connected to the anti-apartheid movement. So when I approached him and said, "What can we do?" Because the ANC at that time was an illegal organization in South Africa. So, how would we be able to support them, and how would we be in touch with them? And Jimmy and Newton made the contact with the African National Congress, and we made arrangements so that funding that would accrue to the group. We were able to, in that documentation, they would ask for a specific, where would you want your money to be sent? Would it be a check? Would you want a deposit to your account, and etc.? So we said, please deposit to this account, and we were given an external overseas account, which was accessed to by the ANC, so they could access those funding. So that was basically how we got around that, but it was definitely due to the fact that we were affiliated with Jimmy, who was such an activist in the anti-apartheid movement.
Yes, and my follow-up question is that I understand it is your wish to perform on the African soil.
Yes.
Where do you want to go?
I
Do you
want
have
to
any
go from north
preferences?
to south and from east to west and central included. Yeah, we want to go everywhere in Africa. Trust me, I've never set foot on the continent of Africa. I've come so close. I've just been over there in Spain, and looking across Madagascar there, and saying, "Oh, Africa is just right over there." I've never been there. So anywhere in Africa that I could get, if it's even on an island just off the coast of Africa, just to be close to Africa. So we are hoping that at this time, at this dispensation, when we are looking to reorganize and regroup and take on the world again on the road, that we will be blessed with the opportunity to perform for our brothers and sisters on the continent. We look forward
Yes,
to that.
yes. And another follow-up question is that you've been around, you guys have been around, and then you've entertained the whole world with your music. How do you measure success?
How do I measure success? Well, I don't measure success like most people. How I measure success is, what is the message of my music? Is it clear? Is it understandable? Is it controversial? Is it controversial for the right reasons? Is it controversial because there is a lot of negativity out there, and the positivity we are coming with causes us to be controversial? you know so success for me is when your message reaches the ears of the people who need to hear it, and the people who accept it and use it as a tool to strengthen their resolve towards realizing the same things that we hold in common with them as problems in the world. That is what I see as success. So it's not how much money you make, but sometimes you write a song and you would like it to reach 1 million listeners, but maybe it only reach three listeners. But if it only reached three listeners, And those three listeners were inspired by the music and inspired by your words to make themselves become great and able to reach the millions that you were hoping to reach with your song. So if you can reach it in terms of like a relay team, you write the song and you run with the button, go round. Yeah, maybe you run the first leg and when you hand over the button to the next runner, maybe you were only just able to keep your team up even though you're in last place. But you got the button around there and you got it to the next relay runner. And the next relay runner with their ability could easily take the button around to the other members of the team, resulting in your team winning. So that is how I see it. The success in music for me is getting it done, having it out there for the ears of the public. And once that is done, then I consider it a success in music.
Thank you, Miss Grant.
Rastafari. So can
Yes.
I ask
Oh,
you guys
sorry, I didn't know I was muted.
Oh,
can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Sure.
All right. So what inspired you all to take up this great work to promote the music and contact artists like myself? Why was it deemed in your eyes necessary to take on such an undertaking? And what do you consider a success in the work that you are doing?
mm,
That's a
Good
very good
question.
question.
Nobody
TYB,
asked.
you be honest.
um,
I'd like the lady to answer first, and then any one of you ugly guys can answer after.
okay.
Ooh, you want the lady to answer. I guess I'm the only ladies who have to answer, right?
Right.
Well, what inspired me is that I myself am an artist, so I've been an artist for over 2 decades. I'm a reggae artist. I sing reggae and I also sing R&B. I'm also a Juno nominated reggae artist, nominated in 2020. And just really seeing the struggles, of artists. Like, I feel like when it comes to the industry, everything and everyone else takes precedence over the artist. We're the last to get paid, we're the last whose voice is heard essentially, even though we're upfront. Just because an artist is singing about all these great things doesn't necessarily mean that they're experiencing the same thing. You know what I mean? I'm talking outside of like the reggae field. I'm talking like, say, mainstream, talking in general,
Yes.
So I felt like just holding the mic as an artist wasn't enough for me. I wanted to also be in the industry to make a difference, because I feel like you can make a difference by being a part of the system and being in the system, not just representing the system. So that's why for me, um, I wanted to just interview artists, because and I feel like because I'm also an artist, there's a shared experience, and then what I define as success is whatever I define as success. Like for me, I don't just equate success with material riches or wealth per se. I mean, obviously that is something I want to achieve on my journey, but that's not the overall journey. Like for me, it's literally the walk, the journey, the experience, the connection, just the encompassing all of it is why I do it. So that's my answer.
Beautiful,
Hmm.
beautiful. What
Yeah.
about them two other gorilla there?
I beg your pardon, Billy?
No, Mister, I want to hear from the other two gorillas in the room there.
I can say that for me, I was a teacher, music teacher for over 30 years,
Okay.
and I've always liked to learn. And as a recording artist, producer, I like hearing from different people because in this small area I live in, which is a rural area, you don't hear about as many musicians. And this is a great opportunity for me to hear from others around the world who and to learn what they're experiencing as a musician. And to me, like Petra says, with success to me is not money. To me, success is whether you're happy and are you making others happy. And to me, if that is happening in your life, then I think you're successful. Money, as my mom always used to say, money doesn't make you happy. And I couldn't agree with that more, and I still agree with that today. So to me, it's just making sure that you are the person you want to be, and you are making, in my opinion, some contribution to society.
Nice, nice.
TYB?
Yeah.
With mine, um, I'm also a Juno Award winner, and once I got the Juno and other awards, I felt there are a lot of artists there, musicians out there who have never been discovered. So what I did was that I said I wanted to be able to promote a lot of or bring into focus a lot of artists who either to will not be able to be put out there because they don't have the within to go and pay DJs and stuff like that to go and play their music. They're good. So I thought that I had to set up a radio station as an infrastructure to help other artists like myself. So this radio station was set up. Initially, it was supposed to be a 24-hour music channel, but I sat down with my co-founder and I said, you know what, let's put some educational programs, in addition to this. So we did it, and then since the inception of this station, actually will be 5 years, on the 19th of October. I mean, sorry, 19th of April. Sorry, 19th of April. That is next Thursday. It will be 5 years.
Woo!
Well, happy
And
anniversary in advance, yeah?
thank you. So we put this program together. So we've had the likes of so many great artists, Grammy artists, Juno artists, what have you. Everybody wants to come out and share their ideas. And young musicians, up and coming musicians. And anytime they come, Petra, myself, and then Ron are able to exchange ideas and to learn from each other. So far as we are here, we'll continue to do the job and to promote music as it's supposed to be. Because I don't think any artist should go out there and pay a DJ
Mm.
play their music. Because if your music is good, it will be taken up. But if you go and push it and push it and push it, you are pushing something appeal that either to somebody will not have taken it. So
Yes.
this is the reason why we put this radio station together. It's a not-for-profit radio station, and we are glad for the past 5 years, despite challenges like we are experiencing right now. Um, we look forward to, God willing, for the next 10, 20, 30 years. And then, that's how we have measured success up until now.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you
Beautiful.
for asking that question. Nobody's ever asked that of us before.
Ron.
Yeah, well, that's why they call me Billy Mystic, you know?
Exactly. Asking those mystical questions.
Of course.
Mhm.
I
Shine a
love
little
that.
light on the hosts.
Thank you, Billy. It's a
Yes.
blessing. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for
Yeah.
shining that back.
Yeah, man. So were you guys able to listen to the Mystic Revealers catalog, some of my catalog, some of the existing songs, the new album, Jaja People? Were you able to hear any of that? If you like any of the specific tracks, share it out there with the people, because I'm confident that the message of the whole entire latest album is solid, and is fit for airplay and family friendly.
Yeah, actually, Huey sent it to us, and we've been playing it 24/7.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy.
Oh, of course. the,
Most
mys-
definitely.
the mystery around the mystic and revealers is alive and strong. And so far as we are here and enjoying the music, we'll keep on pushing it.
Okay, I look forward to the day when we can meet face to face in person. So we
Definitely.
can, so we can, instead of depending, not that we don't like the access that this modern technology provide, we love it, but it we don't want to become complacent so that we think that it's good enough and we don't need to be in each other presence anymore. We want to keep that live and direct connection. So we look forward and pray for the day when we can come together in the flesh and hear each other's voice, not through some instrument, but through this with the vibration of the vocal cords and the eardrums.
Nicely said.
Well said. Awesome. So Billy, I wanted to ask you as well. Um, what are you most proud of in your life and career, and what motivates you to keep showing up every day?
What I'm most proud of, well, they say pride come before a fall, you know. But if I were to make a fall because of pride, I think it would be as a result of my pride in my family and my
Nice.
children and the relationship that we have as a family and how we've stuck together and you know manifested a name for ourselves so that our family name means something. If it's even only in Jamaica, all of Jamaica know us and know my family and know my kids, and everyone is respected. We have been able to hold our head high as a Rasta family, and embracing certain principles of justice and honor and integrity and that sort of thing. We've demonstrated in our relationships compassion for each other and the ability to forgive, which we figure is one of the vital things what make you into a good person, so that you can be proud of things you have done. Is it if you can find a forgiving spirit in yourself and acknowledging and knowing that no man is perfect and no woman is perfect and we all sin and fall short of the glory. The fact that we can hold on to that knowledge that no one is perfect so that we can share love with our fellow man and fellow woman, you know, and give them the benefit of our consideration when they find themselves in hard times, when they have made a bad decision, when they do things that they regret, so that as you would do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and manifesting that to make that a reality. These are the things that make me proud when I see that in my family and my offspring, and see that they're trying their best to be good, and they're trying to be just and honest and fair. When I see those things, I think that is what makes me most proud of all. In terms of my career, what I'm proud about, I always feel proud when someone makes special mention of one of our recordings that meant something special to them. Someone will tell you that, boy, I was going through a hard time and your song was a song that carried me through, or while I was facing that tribulation, or I was taking on an undertaking and it inspired me to stick to it and bring it to reality. These type of things that show us that the effort we put in was worthwhile are the things that I would say make me most proud. But definitely, most of all, is my family.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And I wanted to ask you one more before question before I pass you over to Ron. What do you want your legacy to be when it comes to your music, like
Wow,
with your surfing, like family,
yeah,
everything?
my
Like, what do you
legacy.
want your legacy to be?
That is a kind of selfish, self-centered question. I don't really think about that. I would be asking that same question. I would say, wow, I wonder what my legacy will be, because I'm not doing it with the intention of having a legacy. We're operating in the moment, in the now, what we're talking when we talk about legacy, that's a future thing. Which I have a saying that there's only one time, and it's now. The past is a memory of now, and the future is a dream about now. But there is only now. So legacy. When we speak of legacy, we're speaking of something that the future may hold when we have left the future behind, you know. So it's very difficult what I would want my legacy to be. I would want it to be based on exactly the work I did, and not on someone's comprehension of my reasons for doing it. But that the work that I have done over the period of time and will do in the period of time that I am blessed to have life and strength and energy to do something. I would, I would hope that the things that I did would be appreciated by some, acknowledged by others, and chosen as a way of life for a chosen set and few people, who could could benefit from what I've done. So legacy would be definitely to make the world a better place as a result of the words we put together and the reasoning that we share with people through our music.
Awesome. Thank you. Ron?
Bill, I have one question for you. Uh, if you could share one message with young musicians trying to find their voice today, what would it be?
Wow. One message. Believe in yourself would have to be the one message. Believe in your music. If you love it, somebody else will love it. In the same way that you can love a song that is a hit song and recognize it as a hit song and love that song and request it, you know, believe in your own song that way. Love your own song that way. Believe in it and push it. Because if you don't believe, if you have doubt in yourself, that doubt is going to manifest itself. So I feel that the biggest message is, do that which sounds best to you, and do it for the proper reason, and do it with the intention that, remember, the words you say will live on long after you're gone. So you don't want people quoting you with a quote that you are embarrassed by. So always put something positive out there so anyone can quote your words at any point in time. And you can be so called proud of the fact that they are using your words to get across a message that you were able to get to them, and they see your avenue as the most feasible one to continue the message and push it further, you know. So believe in yourself and go for it. I mean, never give up, never give up.
Thank you, Billy. TYB?
Well, I would like to thank Huey for making this conversation happen. And also, I would also like to thank God for your life, for having given us and continue to give us, bless us with your music. And you know what? We've learned a lot from you today. A lot of people don't know the other side of artists. All that they know is they go behind the mic and and then go and blur out music. But today you've shown us that after you put down the mic, you have surfing, and that's something that I mean it's a lesson to other musicians out there who may not able to, all that they know is that you go to the studio record, go to the studio record. No, everything is not centered around the mic. There's life after the microphone. So really, I really, really appreciate you and I thank you. I hope you come back again. It's your radio station.
Yeah, man, this is my station, man. I expect to hear from you every minute. And yeah, man, and keep up the good work. And I love the answers that you guys gave. We need more people like you doing work for the right reason out there for the listening ears of the public, because the public is like sheep. Them don't know what them want really. Them just take what them get. So them need a good shepherd. Because remember, the sheep are afraid of the wolf. The sheep turn to the shepherd for protection. you know but guess what? You have different type of shepherd, because some shepherd, the sheep, that he is the one who is going to eat the sheep. So even though the sheep is afraid of the wolf and think that the shepherd is guiding them the right way, the shepherd is just fattening them to eat them, like what the wolf would want to do. But then you have other shepherds who raise the sheep for the wool and want the sheep to be healthy and fat and well, and multiply so that they can get the wool. They're not having the intention to kill the sheep. So you guys are like the shepherd who want to raise the sheep for the wool. You know, You know, kill them because the radio personalities who give people garbage for listen to. It's like that shepherd who saving the sheep from the wolf, but only just to have the sheep to eat for himself, you know? Yeah, man, Rastafari. So keep on doing your good works, yeah? We
Thank you.
respect it, and as artists, we love to know that we have um, fellow fighters, fellow soldiers, brothers in arms, and sisters in arms in this great battle towards bringing righteousness to the forefront, you know? So I give thanks for this moment.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you, Petra.
So keep playing Mystic Revealers songs for the people, you know. And
24/7.
when you discover which is your favorite, because you asked me which is my favorite, so I'm gonna ask you guys, go back, listen to the material, listen to all the albums, and see if you can come up with one to say, well, this is my favorite. And then
Border,
let me know.
border, border.
All right?
For sure, we'll do. It's
For
been an
sure.
honor, really. Give thanks.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So it was wonderful
Awesome.
sharing this moment with you guys, you know.
Thank
It's been
you.
a pleasure.
Yeah, man.
So thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure. And also, Billy, can you just share with our listeners where if they want to get in contact with you, can you share with them your social media, any
Yeah,
website
man.
or
From you
anything?
look for Mystic Revealers, from you look for Surfing in Jamaica, from you look for Billy Mystic, if you look for Billy Wilmot, you can just put a general search and everything will come tumbling down like River Jordan for you. Because we alone, we are who we are and we ain't fake, we're real. So when you put the search out there, you're going to find you know, and it's going to be authentic and real. So, yeah, man, reach out. You can find the music everywhere: Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, YouTube, you name it, you know, we're out there. I was so surprised as a senior person, as an elder in this world, when I first heard about YouTube and I said, what YouTube? Let me go up on YouTube. I'm gonna go up on YouTube. I'm writing Mystic Revealers, and almost every blasted song we ever record was already on YouTube even before
Wow.
we put it up, you know. So yeah, we understand that the world is a different place than when we used to be in charge, you know. So we want to encourage you young people, like this beautiful lady here, you know, and as well also you all tough man too. We want you for, we want to bless the idea, man, and say keep up the good work here. Yeah,
For
man.
sure.
Rastafari Selassie is the Almighty.
Always.
Hmm.
Yes, everybody, it's been a pleasure. Thank you all for tuning in and taking a drive with us along the Highway 6 to Africa. We'll be back next week, Saturday, from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern with another fantastic guest. And yeah, any parting words, Ron and TYB?
Uh, Thank you for your knowledge. You said a lot of great things, even offered a lot of wise advice. So, very appreciated. Thank you so much.
Give thanks.
And thank you for, like I say, your life. I pray for you and I pray for every artist out there. I pray for so many people out there who are going through hard times, and it is not an easy world that we are living in right now. But at the end of the day, we all belong to one race, and that is the human race. Thank you.
Amen. One love.
One
Rastafari.
love.
Thanks for having
So,
me.
yes,
Yes.
everybody, you can join us here again next week. And yeah, you guys have a fantastic Saturday. Bye, Love Bay family.
Bye
Take
bye.
care, everyone.
Bye.
Take care. One love. Thanks again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lovely. It was kind of hard to hear. Was that his fault?
No, I think two.
I think we're still live, TOB.
Yeah,
No,
we
we are.
are. Yes, we are. We're still live.